Ladies and gentlemen, a warm welcome to today's Thomas Kren webinar with the topic Harden Your Firewall with Q-Feeds, Cyber Threat Intelligence. My name is Toby. I have the honor to be your host today, and I'm very pleased that you are with us today. And first of all, I would like to introduce you to our two experts. The first step with this picture. We will join and will listen to Stefan Sprenkels. He's the founder of Q-Feeds, and from the Thomas Kren team, Thomas Niedermeyer, the senior solution engineer, OPNsense, will be with us. To give you a short appetizer at the beginning, I can tell you shortly what Q-Feeds are all about, because Q-Feeds delivers a real-time cyber threat intelligence featuring actionable data and easy integration. So they protect businesses against phishing, botnets, and other threats. What is very important is that Q-Feeds can be used directly with your OPNsense-Firewall, and Stefan and Thomas will give you an overview and also a live demo. Then we got some organizational information before we will meet them. Today's webinar will be about 60 minutes, and of course, you have the opportunity to send us your questions during the chat. If you would like to, you can just test it in advance, for example, by writing where you're sitting and where you're joining us. And last but not least, we would like to invite you to send us a feedback at the end of the webinar. It just takes 20 seconds just to let us know how did you like it and what kind of topics are interesting for you in the future. And last but not least, we will send the recording of this webinar to you via mail afterwards. So now it's time to introduce you with the live picture to Stefan and Thomas. Goedemorgen and welcome, Thomas and Stefan. Good morning.
Good morning. Morgen.
Goedemorgen, because Stefan, you are Dutch and you're sitting next to Amsterdam, right?
Yes, that's right. So Dutch, and I live in Hilversum. So that's let's say 20-minute commute from Amsterdam. And unfortunately, my German is not good enough to have this session in German.
Yes.
But yeah, English it is.
But Q-Feeds are great. They are conquering the world, you can say. So we are very curious to learn more about it. Also, Thomas, good morning. Where are you sitting today?
Good morning. Today from the home office, as most of the time, because I have a pretty large commute to Freyung. I'm not sitting in the Bavarian Bayerischen Wald, but I'm in between of Passau and Landshut. I'm in the middle of nowhere in Lower Bavaria, between Landshut and Passau and Deckendorf and Burghausen, in this region, via the river Isar.
Okay, so let's go for it. Let's start, and please rock the show. Stefan and Thomas, the stage is yours. Enjoy.
Thank you very much. There we go. Let's, so actually this introduction has been made already. So it's me covering today actually Q-Feeds, and Thomas is supporting me to give a technical demonstration. And I'm super pleased to be here. Let's kick off. Today, what I would like to cover is first answer the question, why is cyber threat intelligence important for you and what does it bring? Then I will tell you a bit more about the product and the value-added services that we provide, and of course pricing will also be addressed. In between 2 and 3, there will be a technical demonstration done by Thomas. So first, the why. What is threat intelligence? Let me answer that first. Threat intelligence is data that can be linked to malicious activities. It is the aim to use this data to block threats in advance before they cause any harm within your environment. So that gives you the opportunity to actually increase your cybersecurity posture and also because of the use, it is linked directly within your OPNsense or other firewalls. So you can have our block lists. They are super actionable. That will result in less network load because you are blocking malicious activities very early on. And as a result, of course, stronger protection. Also for devices where, for example, it is impossible to have an endpoint license installed on. So think of IoT devices. And last but not least, it will help you to become compliant with the leading frameworks. And you can think of GDPR, NIS2, DORA, or ISO 27001, or PCI DSS. So going back to the product, what is the product and what is the promise that we make to the market? That is, we offer powerful threat intelligence, and we update this every 20 minutes. Plus, it's our aim to have an easy integration. And maybe good to mention why we think that Q-Feed is of added value to the market. And let's go back a few years in time when Q-Feeds was founded. That's 3 years ago. And actually, we were surprised about the fact that CTI is super important for a high number of companies. But looking at the providers, currently suppliers of CTI, they are all focusing on enterprise companies because of their pricing. At the same time, we saw a trend that attackers were focusing more and more on the small and medium-sized enterprises. And those companies don't have the budgets. And the definition of small, medium-sized enterprises is, let's say, companies with less than 1,000 employees, or companies who are do not have the budgets for their own team, their own analysts, etc., etc. Because if you compare Q-Feeds versus the enterprise offerings from other US providers, those US providers come to play with an annual ticket of 100,000 euros a year. So we thought there's a mismatch. And this is when we founded Q-Feeds. So how do we do this? Providing proper cyber threat intelligence at an affordable level in terms of pricing. So what we first do, we find the interesting data. And that consists of commercial and paid feeds, open source threat intelligence, of course. And we also have our own proprietary honeypots. This is all combined into one big data lake. This on itself, I mean, we have over 15 million data points. This in itself is not threat intelligence. This is just data. If you would plug this in, actually, you would see a high number of false positives, some internal IP addresses starting with 192, etc., etc. So it would be a disaster to plug it into a working and professional environment. So what we do, we first, of course, before we connect the source to our platform, we make sure that it is super reliable. Then we do a technical validation. So it is validated against our RFC internet standards, and we do a deduplication. You can imagine that from all the open source sources and the paid sources, there is a bit of an overlap. And it doesn't make sense to have those duplicated IOCs in the feed. Having said that, what we do is we combine sources. So we make connections between the different sources and the IOCs to ultimately enrich the IOC to get a better understanding why, for example, this specific IOC is part of our database. And of course, we do relevance filtering. We've bought, for example, some IP databases with IP addresses that are over 5 years old. You can say that's irrelevant. We would say no, because what we do, we have a relevance scoring and a risk scoring model that looks at recent activities. So if that IP address that has been bought by us as being an IOC that can be linked to malicious activities, and we saw an activity yesterday evening in our honeypot, then the scoring goes up, and then it is a relevant IOC. For the one that is 5 years old and not being used anymore since then, of course, has another scoring, and we will not push it to our customers. Because that's the other fact. I named already that we have 15 million data points. We, of course, do not push those 15 million data points at a daily basis per 20 minutes to our customers. We make it sure that it is super relevant. So that's the number, the ultimate number of IOCs might differ per day and actually per 20 minutes. Then our promise to deliver or to quickly make use of the block feeds. We make sure that actually either it is via an existing integration into the firewall, or we have sticks via our own taxi server or via our API. We deliver it in the context or in the format that you need it. Integrations, and I already touched upon it. We have actually 3 forms of integration. Let me start with the most right one. That's Linux based. We are able to convert all our Cs to an IP table, and by doing that, you can actually make use of the CTI in host-based firewalls. And here are some logos. That's all run on Linux, of course. This has been designed for special use cases. In this instance, it was for a company selling devices for hospitals, and actually all those devices were running on Linux. So hence we developed this solution. It's working great. Then we also have the option for companies to work with the SIEM integration or SOAR integration. We have multiple integrations available, but we've listed here the majority. By the way, on all these boxes, you see some pink dots. And that means there are many more options. And we are open to discussions, but we cannot list them all. If we look at next generation firewalls, of course, we have a partnership with OPNsense. That means with OPNsense that we have our own plugin developed together with the CISO. And we are doing great there. But I also would like to highlight that it's not limited to OPNsense. We also have these integration opportunities with Sophos, Fortinet, Checkpoint, Juniper, APA, and also MikroTik. I'm not going to claim, and I just want to mention this as a caveat. We are not a replacement. So in CTI, cyber threat intelligence, the more sources that you have, the better you are protected. I mean, I cannot give you a guarantee that we catch everything. I can tell you that compared to, for example, Sophos, Fortinet, we see on average an uplift of 30 to 40% more malicious detections that can be blocked. I would say enough talking from my side. I would like to hand over to Thomas to show you actually what Q-Feeds looks like in an actual OPNsense environment. So I would say over to Thomas.
Yeah, thank you, Stefan. So it's my part. I have to, I think it should be visible for everybody. So now my part is now taking place, and I want to show you the working together between OPNsense and Q-Feeds in real life. It's actually my machine at home. It's a productive machine protecting my home network. It's a machine we launch in a couple of weeks in our web shop. It's a very great machine with 10 gigabit Ethernet. So I hope I don't do anything wrong. Otherwise, I'm out of the webinar. But let's do it. So it's pretty easy because, as Stefan already mentioned, it's integratable via plugin into the OPNsense system. So you just click on System, Firmware, plugins, and it start to generate the list. So it's a working machine, not no machine in the lab or something. Because so I have a ton of plugins installed, but also the Q-Feeds connector. You see here, you just click to the plus if it isn't installed, and it's installed very quickly, and it's running. After that, in a new section. It's called Security. So just click on Security, Q-Feeds Connect, and Settings. So and then it's pretty easy to activate the Q-Feeds plugin. You just have to insert your API key, and if you also want to use the DNS block lists, you just have to click the checkbox Register Domain Feeds. And then you're ready to go, and just click Apply, and then the Q-Feeds is loaded, and it's working. So on the next tab, you see the loaded malicious IP addresses for the firewall function of OPNsense, and then if you have activated it, you see the domain names for the unbound DNS. And then you see here it's updating every 20 minutes. So it's actually very accurate and updated. And then you see some events if there occurred something, and I have a ton of events. But I want to talk about it later. So I'm switching to the Q-Feeds web interface. And here you can see the web interface, the dashboard. You get all the the maps of the latest IOCs, and and when you want to activate the API key, just click to account settings. If you have a login, please register at first, and then you can activate the API key. If you have a free license or a spare license. My license is already used for this machine, and then generate the key and copy the key to the OPNsense machine, and you're ready to go. So I'm going back to OPNsense, and I will show you some settings you might have to adjust. You go to Firewall Settings Advanced, and you have here a menu entry, firewall maximum table entries. It could be sometimes necessary to increase the size, but default size is 10 million. I think it's sufficient. And to check on it, if it's sufficient, you can go to Firewall Aliases, and you see in the top right the percentage of the used table entries in it. It's very fine. I have tons of space left. And in this section, you also see the loaded aliases, and you see here the Q-Feeds malware IP alias with 609,000 loaded entries, and already matched some entries. And it's all you have to do and to get it working. But to get it really working in combination with the firewall, you just have to make some firewall rules, and you go to rules. I already switched to the new rule setting, and you activate, for example, on the WAN interface, a rule that says from the source of the alias Q-Feeds to destination any, it's checking everything coming from from the internet onto this alias as source, and then only letting through the traffic which didn't match in all otherwise. And on the other side is from the LAN interfaces. You select. Just give me a second to collect the correct firewall rules, and I also created a bunch of firewall rules for my local LAN networks, and then as a destination, as coming from the LAN network as a destination Q-Feeds and malware IP. It's the way to go to activate the Q-Feeds block list. So the unbound block lists you have to do nothing. It's just working. You don't have to configure anything. Just use the unbound DNS. If you use the other DNS services, it doesn't work, because the OPNsense provides you with a bunch of different DNS solutions. But I use unbound DNS as my DNS server, and we can check on it if you go to reporting unbound DNS, and you see here loaded rules, and that's it. That's the live demo of OPNsense, and I'm going back to the Q-Feeds web interface, and I want to show you some interesting IOC. Here you get a nice overview of IOC with a very high score, and you can see a ton of lots of information to get a feeling what it's like, and what kind of malicious situation occurred. It's a cobalt strike. It's something very malicious, and you get a feeling that it will be very detailed and very rich information about the IOCs, and to get a feeling if it's really harmful, and to make some decisions out of it. So, and just and when you have actually a really own IOC happened on your machine, you go to events, as already showed, and have some I think less critical things happening, because it's the NTP port. You just can when you get a feeling for the details, you just click to look up destination IP, and then you hand it over to the web interface if you're logged in, and you say, it's suspicious. Okay, it's not so high, but you should take a look at it, and you can walk through the analysis of this IOC. And in the end, I want to compare it with another product. It's Zenarmor, and it's because we have both of them in our web shop. It's a different approach. Zenarmor is working it's locally. It's a layer 7. It's application based, and Q-Feeds is very lightweight and very powerful, and not so much impact on the machine, because it's no real. It's happening via block lists and happening via firewalling, and it's all running very fine on slower machines. It's a different approach. And when you want to look at the lists of Q-Feeds, you have to SSH into the machine, and there's a location where you can see what's happening. It's varlib Q-Feeds tables, and you can just check on it via SSH. So I think my part is done now. So yeah, back to Stefan. And yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you for the thorough demonstration. That is useful. Let me proceed and also show you a bit more about, and Thomas already showed you, of course, what you can do in the threat intelligence portal of Q-Feeds. So what Thomas showed you is that you can have an API key overview. You can link licenses to a specific API key. That API key can be copy pasted into your next generation firewall. So that is all available. Furthermore, you can use the threat intelligence portal to get a feed status overview. And that was actually one of the top boxes where we saw that Thomas currently received 609,500 IOCs. And that status is reflected in the portal. Of course, there is also an option to get support and to report false positives. Because we do not have a magic pill. Our product is super strong. Having said that, sometimes there is a false positive. And we ask our users to report this. We will investigate and we will let you know if it is indeed, if we agree with you that it is a false positive, or we let you know why this IOC is still being part of the Q-Feeds database. Moving a bit more to the right side, the light blue. Yeah, what are these triangles? No, the light blue boxes. Actually, we also have a few value-added services. So one of the value-added services that Thomas already showed was the IOC lookup. So if you have a match, then you can copy-paste it and paste it into the threat intelligence portal and see all the backgrounds, why it is in our database. And that consists of connections that we made across multiple sources, but also publicly available information. We will link it to the IOC, and we also map it on the MITRE and attack framework. So you get a lot of information for you to investigate. Of course, from out the OPNsense plugin, you can click and get instantly a better view, but that's one of the value-added services. Furthermore, we have dark web monitoring, and we will all, I will invite you to do a search on dark web. Are your credentials already on the dark web? You can check that within our tool. We have brand protection. Brand protection is, for example, similar domains that can be used for phishing or malicious activities. And you can see whether they are in use, by who they are in use, and if they are still in use. And for example, then you can claim them yourself. Furthermore, we have an external attack surface management tool. And what it does actually, so you enter your the IP address of your own environment, and actually this scanning tool does a scan as being an outsider, and then shows you, for example, the open vulnerabilities, if you need to update CSVs, all these additional information that is shown in that scan. Again, our bread and butter are Q-feed or our feeds with malicious data. So IP feeds, DNS feeds, but these tools are offered additionally. Then we come to pricing. So pricing that I'm talking about is the pricing that is communicated on our website. I started to have this conversation, of course, at this presentation by telling you actually that we wanted to address the SME market, and that we our aim is to make CTI available and affordable for companies with lower budgets. So the great thing to mention is actually next to Plus and Premium, we also have a community version. Community version is a combination of open source sources. So open source threat intelligence, OSINT sources. They are heavily curated by our standards, so that all looks good. It is updated once per day and completely free. You can also create an account within our threat intelligence portal for free. No credit card details are needed. Having said that, if you want to have a bit more premium information, so a bit more premium IPs, a better refreshment rate, then we have the Plus and Premium packages. This allows you also to get access to our additional services, so value-added services. Within Plus, the update frequency is 4 hours. You can do 1 scan per week from the external attack service management tool. You have access to dark web monitoring, and you have access to paid IP feeds as well. This is all, of course, aggregated in one feed. The same is for Premium. The only change in this is that the feed is updated every 20 minutes. Pricing starts for Plus at 99 euros per firewall/router per year. 99 euros a year. And 249 euros for Premium. Just to color that picture a bit more, is we look at the number of beneficial users. So, and we have defined this as full-time employees, so FTE. If a company has less than 50 employees, the price for 1 year is 99 euros. For Premium, it's 249. If, for example, there is a company with multiple locations, and at those locations, so in total, they have more than 250 employees. You have 2 locations, but at 2 locations, you have less than 50 employees sitting there because you are a logistics company, and many of your employees are actually driving trucks. Then what should be applied is 2 times a license of less than 50 full-time employees sitting in that specific office. So 2 times 99 euros. If you need to have more details around this, or if you would like to receive a quote, I would like to refer you to Thomas Cran, and they can help you out with that, of course. That brings me to the last slide, or almost last slide. I would like to invite you to register yourself at tip.qfeeds.com. Get yourself a free account, play around, look what Q-Feeds can do for you, because we can tell you everything, that it is working great, that you have an uplift, or that you would see 30 to 40% more malicious activities. But in my experience, the best experience that you can have is to experience it yourself. So I would like to invite you to register yourself and test it. And again, I would like to highlight that it is not only available for OPNsense. Some of you, we know, of course, are running multiple infrastructures on multiple brands, multiple platforms. So I would like to tell you that it's also working with Fortinet, Sophos, and also with MikroTik and many others. That brings me actually to Q&A. So I think I would like to hand over them back to Toby.
Yes. First of all, dankjewel, Stefan and Thomas. If you would like to, you can switch on your camera again. And we're going to start with the Q&A session. Dear audience, if you would like to, or if you just have some questions, please type them into the chat. send them to us, and then Thomas and Stefan as well will going to answer them. The first question coming from Robert. Thomas, this is that's for you. Can you show the Q-Feeds widget on the OPNsense as well?
Yeah. I forgot it. Yeah, you see, you might be familiar with the widgets. Yeah, in OPNsense, you can add tons of widgets to your dashboard, and it's also a widget available for Q-Feeds, and I activated it, and yeah, it's down there. And yeah, you see some stats, the license expiry date, and the database, the size, and how many entries are blocked, and when it's updated in the next update. It's pretty nice to get a quick overview about the Q-Feeds. And the other what I forgot to tell is our wiki section. You might be familiar with Thomas Krenn wiki. It's very famous in the IT, and everybody knows it. And I created a section below OPNsense for Q-Feeds, and yeah, you can see it's in German. You can switch to English. You see installation for Q-Feeds. You want to read through it and how to activate the rules and the block rules and for LAN and WAN, and an overview about the features. You get a feeling for, and also activation of the Q-Feeds web interface. You get everything to read. In our wiki, for example.
Great. So one information for Guido in our audience. Thank you very much for your hint. We are going to send it to Stefan and Thomas afterwards, and we'll come back to you. The next question from our guest is, will newly discovered CVE vulnerabilities be blocked based on the attacker's IP address? Your microphone.
Stefan, you are muted.
So again, will newly discovered CVE vulnerabilities be blocked based on the attackers? So yeah, there's a bit of an overlap here. So we are not a company that is actively blocking or patching CVEs. I mean, ultimately, that is something you need to do yourself. But if the attacker's IP address is known and it is posted in the multiple sources that we have, then yes, it will be scored. Yes, it will be added to our database. But of course, having said that, it's never a guarantee that it's in there. But we will do our utmost best to keep the data as relevant as possible by updating it every 20 minutes and rescoring every new IPC, IOC that we see. We add that to the database.
Great. Thank you, Stefan. Next, the audience wanted to know, is there a possibility to test the Plus or Premium package, a free trial, for example?
That's a very short answer. Yes, that's possible. So if you create your account with tip.qfeeds.com, you can go to the right corner and request a trial option for 7 days. And you can test premium version, and then you can see indeed the difference between community and premium. So yes, that's possible.
Okay. Dankjewel to the Netherlands.
Otherwise, I couldn't show it. I couldn't show Q-Feeds because I'm utilizing such a license as a gift from Q-Feeds.
Great.
Yeah, it's possible, of course. Yeah.
So up to this point, we've answered all questions, but maybe there will come a new question. But meanwhile, I can recommend this QR code, ladies and gentlemen. It will lead you to the overview landing page for all webinars of the Thomas Krenn AG. maybe you're interested, then please just scan this QR code. And there we got another question for you, Stefan and Thomas. Can you list the benefits of the premium license for us? Especially the vulnerability scanner, how many IPs, dark web monitoring, is it automated based on, for example, a domain, or does it require a manual search and paid data sources?
Okay, this is many questions. So yes, I can. So the premium license, what you see is the vulnerability scanner. How many IPs? So we there is a limit. Let me see, and it is also communicated in the overview. But what it is, we make sure so every asset that you add as a user is manually approved by the Q-Feeds team. And the reason for that is that actually you should not misuse this tool to scan other assets than your own. I mean, if you apply this, there is a limit. It's a weekly limit, but it is clearly communicated. I don't have at the top of my head what the actual limit is. But if you apply, we will get a request, and we will investigate and let you know what is possible. Dark web monitoring, that is on an automated basis. So you can set this in the threat intelligence portal, and you can indeed, for example, set a domain, and it is actively scanning whether other companies are whether that domain is mentioned. And you can also do a manual search, of course. And or does it require manual search and paid data sources? No, there's no paid data sources. So it is an all-you-can-eat model. So if you pay the annual fee with Q-Feeds, you will have access to all these tools. And this is also available in the free trial. So in the 7 days that you have access, then you have full access to all premium value-added services. I hope this answers the question.
Yes, I think so. Otherwise, in this case, it's Thomas who asked. Can write. Yes, he just wrote. Thank you. Great.
Thank you.
Perfect. So I keep my eyes on the chat. Maybe there's coming another question in, but for this moment, I would like to give you the chance to have some last words to our audience, to our guests. Maybe first, Thomas, maybe you can start.
Yeah, thank you, Stefan. Thank you, Toby. Yeah, it was my pleasure to have this webinar with you. Yeah, and to push your great Q-Feeds feature for OPNsense. It benefits and it enriches and enhances OPNsense and pushes it more yeah, towards the more pricier solutions from other vendors. And yeah, it's very good to have these plugins available for our customers, because we see OPNsense is growing and growing since a couple of years, and with the attachment of plugins like Q-Feeds, it is more and more useful for the customers. Yeah. And yeah, I hope I could show some from the practical side, and yeah, everything is in the wiki. And yeah, thank you.
Stefan.
Thank you very much for these kind words, and I also would like to thank the Thomas Cran team for hosting this, and of course for the partnership so far. We are very much looking forward to work together and to make the cyber world a bit safer. We can only do that together. So the reviews indeed are super strong. Current users, I haven't mentioned that before, but we have a couple of thousand users, and I mean, the reviews are super positive, also from bigger companies that are using this professionally. So I'm looking very much forward to work together with Thomas Cran and team to further make the cyber world a bit safer. And if there are any questions, please reach out to the Thomas Cran team, and they know how to reach me. Or if you think so, you can also reach out to me directly. Thank you very much for being with us today.
Thank you very much, Stefan and Thomas. I'm really convinced that we are going to hear more from Q-Feeds in the future, and maybe we will have the chance to meet again in this place, in this webinar from Thomas Cran. Also, thank you, dear audience, for being with us, for your good questions. And last but not least, I hope you can enjoy the good weather in Europe. Have a nice day and take care. Bye-bye. See you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Robbie.
Have a nice
Bye-bye.
day. Bye.